Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Strategic Non-Compliance. I am here with Mike Bluehair and our special guest this time around, Ida Foxy Queen. Are you guys there? Can you hear me?
Yes, we're here.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing my big boy pants.
Yep. Oh, and just to give everyone a heads up, that was Techno Axe Machine Takeover. If you guys are ever interested, royalty-free music. Anyway, Mike, why don't you go ahead and start us off once more tonight with our tonight's guest that we have here.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Foxy for agreeing to come on. Thanks a lot, Foxy. I've been admiring your work for a while. I've been watching it. And I've actually kicked around the idea of doing a talk show type thing with you before, if you remember. And that kind of fell through, but it might happen in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on, and I have mad respect for your work. I mean, especially in the area that you do it in, because the cops there don't really play well with others, even worse so than other places in the country. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And let's get right into it. So you're a cop watcher, yes? Is that how you define yourself, as an activist?
Yes, I've been doing more auditing lately. I've caught more cop watches, in the recent present, but for a while I kind of transitioned into more auditing. But I do both, but I'm a cop watcher at heart.
Right on. So when did you first start? What was like your around about what time period was it when you first started doing this?
I believe it was 2014.
Okay. So for the audience, like, what is your style? Like when you pull up on a police encounter, like run through the technique that you use when you're documenting law enforcement.
Technique. I don't know. I just go to observe, and I let them be the show and let them act the fool, and I just document it and then share it with everybody to show what a bunch of nonsense it is.
Okay, so you just kind of document the whole encounter, yeah?
Yeah. It seems like lately when you come up on a traffic stop, the cops just seem to put the people back in their car and let them go. It's the single way that you can actually make a difference in somebody's life. You can save them from a $300 ticket, their insurance going up, court cost fees if they wanted to fight it, if they get their car impounded and towed, and all these other things that come about just over a stupid traffic stop, which has no victim. So it's really extortion, but you can save somebody's life just by showing up with the camera.
Yeah, so the idea is to act as a deterrent for police abuse then? You feel that you want to get your camera there and put the cops on notice that they're being documented so that they behave and cut people breaks?
Yeah, and then share with the people who are being pulled over, tell them that they need to be recording their own stops.
I got you. Do you get a lot of flack from law enforcement when you're doing your thing? Do they give you trouble?
Not a lot. Every once in a while, yes, but when they do, it's fun for me. I have fun with those ones, but not a lot. I think too, a lot of it comes from me being female, that they tend not to become very aggressive. Not too aggressive with me, but I've had some assholes.
Okay, so I talked to you when I actually went out cop watching with you, and your style is a little bit less confrontational than mine. Like, I prefer if the cops give me shit or violate someone's rights to heckle, to try to embarrass them, to talk a lot of shit, to be quite frank. And your style is more kind of sort of passive in the way that you just want to catch what they're doing, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on if I'm by myself or with somebody else. A lot of times you're with other people always have something to say too, and I'm not going to talk over people. And I'm also not going to fight. If the cop is saying something that is too idiotic, I'm not going to have that argument.
I got you.
If I can make something funny out of it, then I'll say something. But if it's just too stupid, I'm not doing it.
I got you. So you just try to keep from having
because
things go.
there's that saying, they drop you down to their level and then win with experience. So I'm not doing it.
I got you. So what's your motivations? I mean, like if you were talking to somebody who just stumbled across this on the internet and are like, why would anybody want to cop watch? Like, what's the point? Like, what would you say to your average status person, or just your average Dick and Jane out there in the world that just they're wondering why do you feel a need to document law enforcement when they're in public?
Because it is an objective record of what's going on. It takes the he said, she said out of it. They've got, if they have body cams and dash cams, you'll never see it. So you're going to need your own, evidence for case if you feel like you need to fight it or whatever, or you can get your ass kicked because it's not an isolated incident.
Right. So do you do it from the perspective of actually wanting to help the person in their court cases? Like, like say there's somebody, the cops are doing a field sobriety test. Are you, do you communicate with folks? Do you hand them your business card afterwards or tell them where online they can find the video for themselves?
Yeah, if the people want to stick around afterwards, after they're done being detained, then I will see if they want to talk. Some people just want to get the hell out of there and they think that I'm working with the cops and they don't want anything to do with me. But when I get a chance to talk to them, then yes, I always try and have that conversation and just educate, in baby steps. I can't dump on them because it's a lot, but just to kind of plant the seed.
Now, if other people wanted to get together with you, or other girls perhaps that wanted to go out cop watching with you, do you recommend or do it on their own? Like, do you recommend any advice to them?
Well, it was different when I started doing it because there weren't a lot of people out there doing it. Now it seems like you can call a local activist in your area and tag along, do a ride along or whatever you want to. However you want to say it. Now it's a lot easier, I think, to get into it and not have to go by yourself. You can learn the ropes and experience it without having to say anything, but you can be on the scene. And a lot of times people find that, their hands are shaking, they're nervous, and, and that's worse if you're by yourself. So I think it's a little bit easier now. I don't recommend going by yourself, especially if you're new, unless you are, Superman and you just got it like that, then go for it. But it's always smart to have somebody with you because if you get arrested and or your footage deleted, you have a secondary camera.
Would you think live streaming would be a viable protective measure in if you're going to be doing it by yourself?
Yes. Okay. Yes, if you get contact. I mean, I think that the live streaming when Bamboozer was around, that was used as an emergency. Like if you saw a notification on Bamboozer, you knew somebody was getting contact and, we might have something go down. So I think now that Bamboozer's gone, the only thing that's really out there is YouTube and, to not abuse that emergency type avenue, take advantage of it. I think it's smart to live stream if you only have an emergency, because I see live streams all the time and it's like, well, if you're just, going to tell me what you're going to have for dinner, I don't have time for that. But if you're in a bind, you're going to, you don't want to be crying wolf all the time because when you need it, I'm not going to watch it because I just think you're going to tell me about your breakfast. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I want to weigh in here a little bit about that. My third live stream to YouTube was about a month ago. I was walking to a friend's house, and an unmarked unit from Portland gang task force followed me about 4 blocks, and I know exactly what their SUVs look like, and me being the paranoid that I am, it was 4 blocks, real slow, and then they started on the 5th block, and I'm like, I'm gonna live stream just to cover my own.
Absolutely.
ASS,
No, there have been times that's happened just recently to us. We were all leaving. We were auditing a prison, and we were leaving, and the cops, we were there for an hour and a half, and the cops finally showed up as we were leaving and walking back to the car. And this is like a prison, so there's nothing for miles. So we had to walk. And the police came up to us. They pulled over. They got out of the car. We walked away from them. We're like, no, we're not. We don't want to talk to you. Kept walking. And they got back into their car and then pulled up again and got out. And so at that point, I live streamed because that was the second time they tried to get out. And I was like, okay, it's going to get real, or it could. So yeah, I mean, if you're being followed, then absolutely, because you want those plates and, anything else. It's like if I was being stalked by some random on the street, I would do that. It doesn't have to be a cop. So yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah, and something else I want to talk to noobs or new people that want to do this. I have to give them a bit of warning.
In fact, wait, let me cut you off real fast. Laura and I had 2 random drunks coming out of a bar one night and following us down because we were walking back to the car and we were just trying to like keep it friendly because we're like, it was 2 a.m. or whatever, and just us two in this dark street, and we're like trying to be cool until we can get into like a lit area. It was kind of creepy. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
so it
definitely
doesn't matter cop or not, I guess is my point.
right. Okay. Now, like for new people that are into cop watching, I have to give them a a fair warning. Just because there's a live stream on, that doesn't mean your butt's covered. Because what cops will do is they will get in close to you, and when they're 2 or 3 steps away from you, it almost makes the camera unusable, because the cone of what the camera can see, they'll just lie and say you're struggling with them, or you put their hands on you when they're the one that initiated physical contact in the first place. That's why Foxy and myself were saying, it's best to have a second person filming from the outside. That because then if you don't have video from at least your knees up to the top of your head of both parties, the police can lie and falsify evidence and all sorts of other fun stuff. So a live stream is a good, emergency thing, but it's not the end all be all, but it is important.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is important. The camera is important. It's not going to save your life, as just the same way that the Constitution doesn't ensure your rights aren't infringed. So, I mean, it's just a tool.
And I want to point out, I mean, the point of when I use the live streams for when I'm filming now, it is mainly to just get the audio out, and maybe if possible some video footage of the incident. It's just my primary concern is getting the audio out in that aspect. But I know the live stream is just mainly to keep people informed. And I do agree, Bamboozer was great because it was a dedicated platform, and you could turn your cell phone screen off, and it wouldn't be a big issue. It can continue live streaming. But with all these, with the way things are now, we don't have like a dedicated platform where we can do that with, per se. It
Right.
just, we got to adapt to the situation or set up specific channels to deal with that kind of issue.
Yeah, I like the idea of having those who have created a second live stream specific channel. I thought that was a good idea.
So, do you have any instances or stories you can tell about your presence when you showed up on a encounter, Foxy, that stopped the cops from hurting people, or where they've not written tickets when you think they should have? Do you have stories like that?
Yeah, there have been a couple times where, I mean, it's been so fast that once we get there, the people are all of a sudden off the curb and in their cars again, and no ticket. I mean, these people the guy was strip searched and the female was taken out of the car too. And as soon as we got there, they were put back in the car, and I talked to them afterwards, and they were like, yeah, they had no reason. And we had just heard the call when it came through. So, I mean, they weren't there for like an hour, and then we just happened to come late, and then they got in their car. Like, it had just happened. And all of a sudden it was okay and they could leave. So they were just on the prowl.
Yeah, so
I
they
mean,
were basically
it seems
just
a lot.
mugging these people, right? They just rolled up on them, gave them
Highway robbers, road pirates,
Wow.
shake
I mean,
you down.
That's awesome. That that happens with me and cop watchers here in Portland as well, where we'll roll up and the cops will leave immediately, and I'm all, did the cops act any differently when they show up or when they saw us show up? And the people are always 9 times out of 10 are like, yeah, they started acting nice and treating us.
Yes,
decently.
I've had that too. Exactly.
You're like,
All of a sudden, yeah, they're smiling for the camera and the PR button's turned on.
yeah, this is ridiculous. No, you were saying it's not like this is a brilliant segue, because I know you were looking forward to talking about this, but you said the Constitution is no guarantee that your rights are going to be respected, and this would be a good time to bring that up, like your whole anarchist perspective of things.
Well, I think that the term anarchist or anarchy is frowned upon because of what media and society portrays it to be instead of what it actually is. It just means no rulers. No man has the right to rule over another man, first of all. So it doesn't mean no rules. It doesn't mean no rules. Of course, there are rules, and the rules are the non-aggression principle. And freedom is really doing whatever the hell you want to do, so long as you're not harming somebody else or their property. I'm free to do whatever I can cross the street wherever the fuck I feel like it. And if my mom didn't teach me well enough and I get hit, well, that's my damn fault. I should have been more responsible. My mom should have done a better job. Whatever it is, it's not somebody's job to give me a $300 ticket for crossing the street. That's just retarded.
Right.
And
So
you can't delegate a right that you don't have. Okay, so if I don't have the right to rob you, I can't delegate that right to somebody else to go and rob you for me. It doesn't make it right. And that's what taxation is, and that's how all of this is funded. Now, the good of society and all this other crap, well, if I got to keep half of my friggin' paycheck, then I could donate to those services or charities or whatever that I chose that I want to support, instead of being forced to support things that I don't necessarily want to contribute to.
right. So the non-aggression principle, that's also what I go by. You know, as long as I'm not harming another human being or their property, I feel like I should have every moral and ethical right. And I like the way you put that. No one can delegate a right that they don't have. Meaning, if the average person doesn't have, you know, the right to take someone's property, then we can't by proxy have this standing army of men and women called cops, given them the special powers to rifle through people's property and pull them over on the side of the road, deny them their liberty, just because you know, there's some illusion that the government has the authority to delegate those rights. It makes no sense. Like the whole idea of a social contract, that government has like some sort of an agreement to take care of me or protect me, I find ludicrous. You know, like the idea. Yeah. It's crazy to me that people don't understand that when I say I want to advocate for anarchism, that they immediately think of, like, you know, muscle queers in truck tire armor shooting each other with crossbows at the side of the road, like in Mad Max. I'm like, no, I mean, I want to live in a society where people take responsibility for themselves, and then we need less, you know.
And that's stupid to think that, you know, here, let's empower these cops to do it, and then they can be responsible for, you know, all of us. They don't take responsibility for shit, so that ain't working either.
No, and like the justice system, I mean, I love this little colloquialism. I mean, it's all about just us, you know, just us and our rich friends, and not you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's a world of euphemisms too. I mean, okay, like I was saying, I can't delegate a right that I don't have, so I can't have anybody rob you in order to fund what I want. So that's taxation. Now, the Constitution too was written 240 years ago. Okay, but who wasn't even signed by the people who wrote it? It was signed as a witness. It wasn't even binding to them. So can I buy a car and make you liable for it? Can I, you, my posterity, make you liable for my car because I signed this contract? No, if that was what it was, it's binding between those people only, and it dies with them.
Right. Like, agreed. Like, I never gave consent to be governed. Like, there was no point in my life where I was ever approached and said, "Hey, would you like to sign this contract to make you beholden to federal law?" Yeah, would you like to be ruled by force, threats of coercion, of violence for the rest of your life? No one ever walked up to me and unrolled this big contract and said that. And I mean, that's my hope. That's my line of reasoning.
The military has a UCMJ because they saw that the civil side of it, that there is no jurisdiction for that. So the military made sure that when people enlist, that they have that little piece of paper that says, "Aha, you're my bitch. You come into my court." There's no civil paper. There's no civil contract for that. So there is no jurisdiction. When you have jurisdiction, when a crime, an actual victim exists, that's when jurisdiction exists, and you actually have a accuser. So when the state, what is the state? Can somebody point to the state? Is it a person? Is it a building? Like, what is this thing accusing me right now? The state? What is that? It's a legal fiction. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
They're not the victim. You are. You're the one getting extorted.
Yeah, agreed. Like, I think of it as this imaginary social contract. I mean, it's funny that you said legal fiction, because in legal speak, that's what they call it. You know, you talked about the universal code of military justice. you should explain it a little more thoroughly for people that don't understand what you meant by that. I mean, I got it, but explain it the same way you would explain it to a child.
Well, when you join the military, just like, when we have audits and stuff, like on bases or whatever, as long as we're not on their property, then that has nothing to do with it. They have to call the local PD because, that's their quote unquote jurisdiction, allegedly. So the military doesn't have jurisdiction over anybody except the people who sign that piece of paper that says, I'll be your bitch. They're giving over, they're freaking becoming their slave, basically. There is no civil side to that.
Right.
I'm sure you could find property of this job.
So you're saying that they sign away their right to be a sovereign individual and their property when they sign a military contract of service, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Yeah. I mean, agreed. Like, there should be some sort of voluntary aspect to it. Like, I don't see how, like I said, I never gave consent to be governed,
Right.
And I mean,
nobody has. Even the people who think that they have, nobody has.
Right. I mean, at the time of your birth, I mean, you're not of sound mind as a baby, so you shouldn't be beholden to a contract of a birth certificate. Exactly. That's ridiculous. Like, babies can't make informed decisions. But yeah. So what else? What else did I want to get into? So
yeah, and that's also some shady shit because they leave those little details out of what the birth certificate really is.
Right. Which is more similar to a warehouse receipt of property than anything else that I could think of.
Yeah, look up chattel.
Yeah, chattel slave or straw man is another good thing to look up for people that are interested.
But yeah, you sold into debt slavery at birth.
Yep, which is another ridiculous thing. How can we be held responsible for the debts of generations before us? It makes absolutely no sense.
The same way you are, your social contract is binding somehow from years ago, 200 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I admire some of the stuff that Thomas Jefferson wrote, like, I'm still not,
I still would like the choice.
Yeah, I'd still like the choice. I mean, even if the founders of this what used to be a republic, because it's no longer a constitutional republic, it's more like a fascistic oligarchy at this point. Like, no matter how benevolent their intentions were, like, I just totally agree with you, Foxy. I mean, I would still like to have the ability to enter consent into the equation.
How do you bind your posterity? You can't. You can't bind somebody to something that you agreed to.
Right. That would be like me saying, telling my friend that it's, that Foxy's going to date them without Foxy ever knowing. Like, like the mentality of government is literally the mentality of rape. And I'll give a quick example. Like, if the police pull you over, I mean, cops literally think like date rapist in a way. And I'll give an example. When they pull you over, if you don't outright say, I do not consent to a search, then it's implied that you consented. So if they can go through your pockets and you say, I don't consent, then what they find can't be used against you. But if you just don't talk, so silence is considered consent. So you can imagine like having sex with a girl or putting your hand over her mouth or whatever, or like, she didn't nod no, you know. Right. It's disturbing the way that the legality of the way police interface with people. It's very rapey in nature. Like, if you don't say no, then it must have been okay for us to go ahead and rape your liberty.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like what voting is too. I mean, it's like a gangbang. I want to vote, and I want you to violently make my neighbors do this because I find that important, and your neighbors are voting to have you violently ruled because they want you to be doing this. And that's what democracy is, and it's like a gangbang. So as long as all these people agree that they want this, they can go impose that on you whether or not you want it.
Yeah, there is definitely, it is really a mob rule if you look at the quote unquote democratic process as opposed to a republic. I mean, like, the ancient Athenians used to vote to throw people off a cliff. You know, they're like, oh yeah, so this guy's committed X. If we can get the majority of people to say toss him off a cliff, all right, fine. I mean, that's not liberty or freedom of an individual. That just means that, it's a popularity contest. So the people that wins Dances with the Stars can like have other people thrown to the wolves. I mean, it's antithetical to logic and reason in my world.
Right. You don't have a right to life.
Right. Or property
because
or anything.
We voted that we don't think your life is worth it. So your life does not matter. Hashtag.
Right. Like, I have more Twitter followers than you, so blah, blah, blah.
So you're going down.
You're going down, man. You're going off the cliff. You're going to
burn them.
Sent out onto the ice to fall through and freeze to death. So, if you had all the cops' ears in the region where you cop watch, like if you had them as a captive audience and they had to listen to what Foxy had to say, what message or sentiment or what would you like communicated to them?
Get an ethical job where your services are voluntary and not forced on people. Yeah, I mean, the government's criminal because it runs on stolen funds. If I were to start a business that I'm running off of ill-gotten gains, it'd be criminal, right? So why can't anybody else see that this is a fucking criminal racket? Hello?
That's very simple and straightforward to get an ethical job. Okay. Wow, brain fart. What else? What have we covered? We've covered the anarchism bit. We've covered your philosophy. Horror story stuff. What's some of the most intense stuff that you've ever seen out cop watching?
I don't know if I've ever seen anything really intense or if my tolerance parameters that high. I don't know. I have to think about that.
All right.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty much like open to anything and not much shocks me. So I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I've never seen anybody get beaten up.
Okay.
Except my sister. And that's why I do this. But
wait. I never did ask you what was the genesis of your cop watching? Do you mind sharing that story? Like,
yeah. My sister her and her boyfriend were beat up by Torrance police. And, my mom was looking at videos and she sent me some of Tom Zebra. She was like, check this out. Because one of the cops that was there at her incident was on a video of Tom Zebra's. So she was like, check this out. So then she started watching more of his videos, just kept sending me links. And I was like, this dude's fucking crazy. So one morning she was like, get a hold of him. And so we did. And that's how I got into it. But it was because my sister got her ass beat. So it wasn't because I had any personal traumatic experience with cops myself, but if you do it to my sister, you might as well be doing it to me. So game on.
Did anything happen? Did those cops face any consequences? Of course not, right? They just got away.
Well, they won their court case and the civil is in process.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that a bit. A lot of people don't know, and they're shocked when I tell them this, but it is true, right, Foxy, that the police have been told numerous times by the Supreme Court that there's no real legal consequence to them not defending human life, right?
Right. I just did a cop watch for some lady who was on the floor, and they just stood there and looked at her until the ambulance showed up. I mean, they had gloves on, wouldn't touch her or anything. I've had some stab victim, like I think you talked about this with Laura, some stab victim in the alley, LAPD Harbor, and they wouldn't let the friend take him to the hospital, so they had to wait 30 minutes for the ambulance to get there. They ended up tasing him in the meantime, waiting. But yeah, they don't have a duty to protect you. Every Supreme Court has ruled there's no duty to protect. So the legal definition, according to them, of a citizen is a reciprocal relationship of a duty of allegiance in exchange for protection. Well, if there's no duty from them to protect you, well, then how is there a citizen? Because it's a reciprocal relationship. If there isn't one, then there isn't the other. So there's no such thing as a citizen. These people are just criminals.
Yeah, it seems more like a criminal syndicate, when you strip away all the BS and actually start looking at it.
Get rid of the euphemisms. Call a spade a spade. It is what it is.
Yeah.
If I were to do whatever they're doing, it would be criminal. Okay, so stop making excuses like this magical voodoo that's in this badge. Like, what is it? I need to know more about this.
Sure, and I've stared into the face of the magical voodoo. A lot of it comes, well, the two primary legal fictions that grant them, their superpowers of the badge. Number one is something that started in 1972, the Grand Lodge of the Fraternal Order of Police, which is the largest police union in the Fraternal Order of Police, or the FOP, is the largest police union in the country. But the first Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights was crafted by the California Police Union, and they actually got granted a separate version of the Bill of Rights that only applies to pigs. I mean, the pig state. I mean, the police. Which when I first learned this and I started reading through it, and then immediately my mind started going to all the different special privileges they get when they're under a criminal investigation that everyone else doesn't, and it just sickened me to my core. And then the other thing is there's a concept called qualified immunity, and qualified immunity just basically to prove somebody's in court. Supposedly to prove a crime, there's something called corpus delicti, or the body of the crime, like the evidence, and then there's mens rea. I'm butchering the pronunciation because I don't speak fluent Latin, but mens rea is basically guilty mind, or proving the intent, Mm-hmm. But to prove those elements of a crime for a cop, the standard is so much higher than everyone else's that many lawyers will be like, oh, a cop did what to you? Oh, I'm not even bothering. I mean,
because their Bill of Rights supersedes the Bill of Rights of this 240-year-old document.
Right.
Theirs is more important, and theirs exists, and ours doesn't. Ours is just a joke. They actually enforce theirs.
Right. What it really comes down to is, honestly, is whose army and what force, you and whose army. They have, a monopoly on the guns. They have monopoly on the people's perceived legitimacy of the use of force. So that's all really the state is it's violence, coercion, and threats. It's I mean, it disturbs me that people.
Right, and then they try and say it's a separation of powers because you've got the judicial and the executive and the legislative or whatever. They all sleep together. There's no freaking separation. Okay, you go to court, everybody in that room is against you except you.
Yep. It's just
the same people. Hello.
Wait, say that again, Foxy, because I messed up.
They're all licensed. They're all licensed and paid by the same entity.
Right. Yep. But so then would it be a fair statement to say that you're more interested in convicting cops in the court of public opinion with the media you produce?
Yeah, because you can't make the mafia moral, okay? The system's running exactly the way they want it to be run, or else they would friggin' change it. So you can't make somebody else do something. You can only change yourself. And so you have to stop hallucinating an obligation to bow to criminals. How come you don't legitimize the mafia or the Bloods and the Crips? Why aren't those criminals, those gangsters, legitimized in your mind? Why do you legitimize these ones over here?
Sure, that's a really good analogy, Foxy, because I've been saying this for years, that the only real difference between La Cosa Nostra or MS-13 or, any number of criminal syndicates or any of the 1%er criminal biker gangs is scale. Their transactions, their monetary transactions, occur mostly in the black market, and they're dealing with smaller amounts of money. But the structural organization, the vertical integration of power, the sense of entitlement, the cult-like devotion that they believe that they have a moral mandate to do what they do, there is no difference than the cult of law enforcement and the cult of a 1%er biker gang. like a
Yeah,
gypsy
you're
jerk.
white Nikes. Yeah, there's no difference.
The only difference to me is scale. The amount of monetary transactions that they deal with is smaller, and the amount of influence that they have is smaller compared to government being a larger transaction. But I really see no difference.
Well, if people would stop legitimizing them and hallucinating this obligation, this authority, then there's more of us. So it all starts with you. If everybody realized that this is just another Bloods or Crips or whatever, nobody would say, hey, you have the right to rule me. So get rid of the euphemisms and frickin' see it for what it is. They're gangsters. Stop frickin' funding it.
Yeah,
And every time I turn around, let me tell you, every time I go to a police station, they're always friggin' hiring. They want more of them. Are you kidding me?
yeah, it's like they think that they need more. Something I do so I can call cops out. I subscribe to something called Indeed. It's like a job posting thing online, and I have it send things to my email inbox when there's new law enforcement related jobs that come into the Portland metro area. So, I know how much a starting wage for a sheriff's deputy is. I know how much their criminal intelligence unit people make. I know how much the forensics people make because I get their job postings, and it's amazing the amount of money these people are paid to be professional thieves, crooks, and liars is insane to me. It's gratuitous. Like Multnomah County cop, like first year, like a regular beat cop, they get paid between $28 and $32 an hour to start first year, right out of the academy. That's first year. They get a 50-cent raise every few months for the first couple years or whatever, for the first year and a half, I think. Like for like every 6 months they get a 50-cent raise or something, and they get when cops test a lie in Multnomah County, if they get 3 hours free pay just for showing up, automatically 3 hours wages. If they have to testify for 15 minutes, they get 3 hours of pay.
Right. So in every way, it behooves them to continue to oppress you because you have to take time off of work, and you're stressed and you're this and you're fighting yourself, fighting your innocence when you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but you're sitting there fighting for your innocence, and you have to take off work and all this other stuff, all the money that it costs you, and you're out, but you're innocent. But all these hindrances are upon you, and you're an innocent person until convicted. But all these things that you have to go through, but for them, it's just bonus and benefit and pluses and perks to do what they do. So why would you stop? And for them to quit this job and go do something else. Okay, number one, with the IQ that they've got, nobody's going to pay them what they're getting paid, and they've become comfortable in this lifestyle. Nobody's going to pay them that much to be as stupid as they are.
Yeah. I mean, something that do you cover a lot of protest at all, or do you cover protest at all when you do your cop watching, Foxy?
I have before, not so much lately. I don't really believe in the protests. I don't believe in begging my masters to be nicer.
Right. Oh, dear government, please stop beating me, or stop stealing from me. Stop robbing me, please.
Get me a little less.
Well, I cover protests primarily because it's a time, especially in Portland. The police have a very, very bad track record of harming people at protest, like physical violence, and the mentally ill folks and minority folks, people that are black or brown. They have a really bad statistical problem with dealing with those kind of people. But one of the things I noticed at protests that people have this perception that cops hate it, and it's so dangerous for cops at protest. I mean, are you kidding me? Like overtime, if you're making anybody who's been a cop for more than 5 or 6 years is making more than $30, $34, $35 an hour. They're getting time and a half. They're making like $40, $50. Some of them are making $50 an hour. Depending on the sergeants are definitely making close to $50 an hour during a protest. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous, grotesque amounts of money that they get. And they're like, oh, they're working so hard. Why they working so hard? Because I've been to protests where the
Working is it, what service is it that you're providing me with your stolen freaking funds? You don't have any duty to protect me. What are you doing? What is it that you're providing me? An ass whooping?
that's a fun joke. Like the only thing worse than knowing a cop hit you upside the head with a stick.
Yeah.
Knowing you paid for the stick. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's called Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yeah. If people don't know what that is on the interweb or whatever, Stockholm syndrome is something that was defined in the 1970s. It's basically when someone is being held hostage or kept as a hostage, they start to identify with their hostage taker. And I use that metaphor a lot, Foxy, where I'll say that people have cultural Stockholm syndrome. I mean, it's amazing to me. Like, let's talk about propaganda. Like, why is it that you would think that the people that make TV shows, like, why is it that you think that we want to see like 400 versions of Law and Order? You know,
propaganda. It's just conditioning. If you say it enough, people start to believe it. Kind of like this Constitution is binding.
Yeah. Like somehow some 200-year-old piece of paper applies to me because I don't know why. Because
there's no good reason, but so many people believe that it does, and I can't get a logical friggin' answer for that.
Oh, do you ever try to ask status about that? You're like, why should it apply to me? Like, what's their answer?
Oh, do you think you're above the law? You don't think that that rules should apply to you? You don't think that, whatever, and then go live somewhere else, go to a different country. And yeah, all the time. Why can't the criminals leave? Why can't I stay here?
Yeah, right. Why not deport the Congress and the judicial branch? Why can't we get rid of the 9 justices? So why don't we deport them and deport Congress and deport like all these people that claim that they have the authority to rule us? Why don't we put them on the ship?
Why can't people stop stealing from me and then violently oppressing me? How about that? Why do I have to leave? Why are we fighting to keep those people here, but I gotta leave?
Right? Here's one for you, Foxy. What do you think of the whole Trump crowd and like the people that are screaming about build a wall, or like, people think that keeping immigrants from coming over here is going to help society? Or what do you think of those people?
Well, okay. Borders, lines on a map, those are all man-made constructs to create division and keep people fighting amongst themselves and, keep these powers in order and keep fear in everybody's mind. And that's the bad guy over there once you cross this, imaginary line. And, the world, when the world became it, there were no lines. It was just land. So these are all man-made things. Why do we put so much emphasis onto people's opinions? We hallucinate to have some sort of, righteousness, which that too I don't understand. Why everybody knows that politicians are friggin' liars, but yet we look to them as a moral compass on what the hell we should do. What?
Right. It says in the Declaration of Independence that government derives, quote, its just powers from the consent of the governed. And reading that, like, I really don't. Yeah, government, derives its just powers from the consent of the governed. I don't consent. I withdraw.
Right. I can't opt out. I cannot opt out. And when it was written, blacks and women, they weren't included in that.
No, they're property.
Right. So, hello. I mean, there's so much wrong with this. What is? I don't get it. Yeah. It's not about rights. It's what's right and what's wrong. Stay in your own lane. Leave me alone. You do you, and I'll do me, and stay out of my way. Unless I've done something to you, piss off.
Just giving you guys a heads up, we are about 10 minutes off from the halftime part and taking audience questions, so just giving you that heads up. It looks like we're going to have some interesting questions, too.
Cool. Yeah, like this is the Foxy show, so if there's any questions she doesn't want to answer, she ain't got to. So, but like, yeah, we can do that. You know, we can answer questions. You know, but she doesn't have to answer if she doesn't want to. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't have to answer cops. I don't know why anybody would think I would need to answer them.
Good point. But yeah, but I'll answer whatever questions asked to me, and I don't care what it is. I mean, you could ask me like what my favorite color is, or you know, why I like furry costumes. I'm open. So just putting that out there. Furries need love too, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Right.
Furry lives matter.
Yes, furry lives matter.
So there's so much on this topic, but
oh sure.
What's
you guys
wrong
are
with
reminding me of
government?
DashCon with that talk.
I don't even know what that is, Bunny. But I want to thank the 17 whole people that are watching my live stream. I'm a baller, dude. I'm gonna be like the Rupert Murdoch of anarchism. Like I'm gonna be balling. I'm gonna have like my own like version of Clear Channel. I'm gonna be rich. 17.
It's not a popular topic because people are afraid. People are afraid of change. Oh my gosh, I'd rather be violently ruled and continue to have these people who I'm going to bitch about on my keyboard for hours a day, but instead of trying something different and seeing if that works. That's insanity.
Yeah, you
can't control other people, especially people who don't think there's a problem with what's going on. Good luck.
You know, I found that after I've become an anarchist since I was a teenager, like late teen, like I found myself being a lot less stressed because there was so much fighting between the whole left and right wings of politics. There's so much, and you know, people feel it even when they're in high school. You know, like, you know, if you have conservative parents, you're going to get raised to be a certain way. If you have very liberal parents, you're going to get raised to be a certain way. But I found that anarchism, I'm a lot less stressed, or being an anarchist, because I'm not caught up in that build up to the presidential race that everybody else is. And they remind me of a bunch of fish eating food off the surface of the water. You know, they're just eating up the BS that's being sprinkled on the water for them.
And everybody knows they're liars, so why are you sitting there listening to it? You like being lied to? I don't understand. Why are you voting for these? I'm going to pick the lesser of two evils. Why not just not pick evil?
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a crazy thought.
Mm-hmm. Hey, by the way, if you're watching my live stream and you're not hitting that super chat button, I'm just going to say it. You're an asshole. I'm just going to say it.
Oh.
Everybody that's not hitting my super chat button, they're assholes. I can't believe you assholes.
Big and gaping.
Big and gaping, like just porno ass, just maximum gay load capacity. Yeah, you just.
Sorry, I shouldn't have went there.
Don't encourage me, Foxy. I'm a dirty.
That. All right. So what are we doing? Anybody else want to hate on this philosophy? No, being your own fucking ruler.
Right. Oh my God, Foxy said fuck.
The
F-bomb. I'm gonna have to edit this in the parts, but I don't mind.
I'm fucking sorry.
I'm so fucking sorry. So here, do you ever get the copsucker effect? Like I've literally had more people, just regular Joes, attack me or shove me or cuss at me. I've been spit on by people that feel a need to defend the police. Do you get that shit ever?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, we were in Hermosa Beach this one time, and this guy thought he knew Laura and I were there, and we were recording some guy, he was drunk and whatever, he needed medical, and this guy was like, why don't you go film some real stuff out, out on the street or whatever. This guy, leave him alone, blah, blah, blah. And granted, it was a boring stop. There wasn't anything really to see. However, you don't get to tell me how I'm going to, one, run my fucking channel. Number two, why don't you go record those stops that you're talking about? You upload them and then, show me how it's done. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, show me how it's done, big guy,
Yeah, like
fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that too. And what people don't understand is if you wait for the police to have a bed, you just gotta. I tell them. Here's the thing, right? I got distracted because I was reading this text that was sent to me. But until they upload a couple hundred cop watching videos, I'm not going to listen to what they have to say. When they're like, "Oh, you should do it this way," or "You should do it that way," I'm like,
Thank you,
like,
Peanut
oh,
Gallery.
Yeah, show me through your infinite wisdom. Show me how it's done.
Right, exactly.
I guess my 1900 videos online is I've been doing it for this long because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go tell your surgeon how he should cut you open.
Right. Like here, just smear a little goat urine on it. It'll be fine. It's the new antibiotic.
Right. Do you call your gardener to give you financial advice?
Oh wow! So, buddy, if you want, you can start asking us various questions that you saw in the chat room or whatever. We're ready.
Anna Ruth loves this topic.
Okay, so you guys want to go ahead and get started? Just about 2 minutes early on that, then.
Bring it on.
Okay, it'll take. We usually have a 2-minute delay, guys. Everyone that is on, start posting your questions, and I'll start fielding them to Ida Foxy Queen here.
I'll answer Laura's because I saw it. Since we're waiting for 2 minutes, who's my favorite person to cop watch? You, girl, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, it just takes a minute, unfortunately, with how the system is set up. We gotta go through all of that stuff. So, but yeah, it looks like because you guys touched on some sovereign citizen stuff ideology there.
Hold on, no, let's correct that.
Okay, anarchist. How do you want to that? Because as is, we had quite a few people.
I was just talking about anarchists. Yeah, I was just talking about anarchism. We weren't talking about sovereign citizen stuff.
Okay, well, the chat got the impression of sovereign citizens, so.
Okay, let's clear that up. Okay, sovereign citizen is not the same thing as an anarchist. Sovereign citizen is free man on the land and the sea and the whatever. I don't even know what the hell their shit is. I think they're more common law driven, and they still have a master. So, yeah, there's that. So it's not the same thing, and that's like a domestic terrorist. Don't put me in that category.
Yeah. I am not a sovereign citizen,
Well, thank you for clearing that up. This way our audience hopefully will understand that on that aspect, so. But, yeah, I'm still waiting for questions.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were going to say something, but I cut you off because I was like, no.
Oh, no. Right now, I'm just waiting for the questions to start fielding in. Was that one for you, or is that for someone else? Okay. I think this is for you. When you are falsely arrested for filming on the sidewalk, do you believe officers involved should be charged for assault, kidnapping, and extortion?
Absolutely.
And that was from Tony Narcado from Mike Bluehair's channel there. Let me check mine.
Okay, so if I were to do that, wouldn't that be a crime? If I were to kidnap you off the street? Take you in because you did something that didn't harm me at all. I mean, there's no victim in that, so that's a crime.
Yeah, understandable with that philosophy. All right, News Now Tennessee from my YouTube channel. How do you get new auditors to audit with? She's a cop watcher, so I don't think that it really applies to her. But let's just say, how do you get new cop watchers to audit with? Let's just change auditors to cop watchers. How about that?
I think that people watching our stuff, when they get the wild hair, they're eager to do it and they reach out to us. I don't go soliciting people to cop watch. It's just organically happening.
I kind of do when people compliment what I'm doing, like in the chats underneath or in the comments under videos. I'll invite people out to come and go with me, like if they sound interesting, just to see if I can get more people involved. But.
Right. I encourage people to do it themselves, and I send them to my channel, whether or not they want to engage me. I'm not going to go solicit. I'm a female. I'm not going to go solicit freaking weirdos off the street, so it's not happening.
Right,
Just,
of course.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Laura would do that either. And
No,
if I were to do it, I wouldn't go alone with that person either.
sure. Like I don't like, go hang out in a dark alley with strangers. It's more like I'll invite them somewhere that's public to cop watch, like our entertainment district where they have the bar crawl or whatever, and there's like thousands of people around. Like I'll take them out to some place like that. I won't like invite a stranger on a ride along or to come out on patrol with me. Oh hell no.
Right.
Uh-uh.
And Desert Sentinel just said, "Stupid people like me call." Yes.
All right. We got one from I am Nacholok. Foxy, why do you like consideration that was created by men, but you don't like borders created by men?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Hopefully I can say this clear. Foxy, why do you like the consideration that was created by men, but you don't like borders created by men? I'm guessing they're asking about... I'm not sure what they mean by considerations.
Well, I think they're making a claim right now. They just claim that I liked something that I never said that I liked, first of all.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I don't understand that
clarify
grammar.
that question better.
Yeah.
Ask it again if I can get to it in time. So, let's see.
I'm gonna eat an apple, so just
Okay.
ignore the crunching sounds.
Got let's see. OCSOB 007. Can I grant power to the government that I don't already have the person right to do?
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think you can? I mean, how is that even possible? No, absolutely. If you don't have the power, how are you going to give it to somebody else? Where's this superhuman voodoo going on? Where do you find this?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not sure who this one's to. Something about Smurfette's phone number.
Oh my God.
Who's Smurfette?
She was a lady at one of the post office audits that she had blue hair and she was kind of nuts. And she asked me what my name is. And I was like, I'm not telling you my name. She's like, I'll tell you mine. And I said, I don't care, Smurfette. And so people found her cute, I guess, and want her number. And I didn't get it. I didn't ask her because I didn't even care for her name. So sorry. You're going to have to go hang out at La Puente post office and her.
Okay, I am
Who asked that
Nacho.
question, by the way? I'm curious.
That was what was it? Give me a second here. That was Prowler Cam.
I freaking knew it. Okay.
Let's see. I am Nacho Lock. BB, why does she like the consideration but don't like borders, both created by men?
What consideration are you talking?
Yeah, I am Nacho Lock. We need you describe what consideration is, or what exactly
Do you like Foxy? Do you like it if people pull out a chair for you or hold the door open for you? Like, what do they mean by consideration? Like,
that's the problem. We don't know. They haven't been able to do with that. Hold
Is it
on, guys.
monetary consideration?
One of my OBSs, I just got a thing that said disconnected. Okay, reconnected. Mike, your OBS disconnected for a moment, but it was just for about 5 seconds. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what caused that. It could just be some wacky internet issue. So, but we're back again on Mike Blue Hairs.
It didn't dump everybody off of my thing, did it?
No, it has to do it for a full It has to be disconnected for a full 60 seconds for that to happen.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me check the other chats real fast to see if there's any new ones in those other directions before I continue fielding from my channel here. Okay, where's Mike's chat box I just had?
Is David Dam blocked?
On your channel or mine?
Mine.
I have no idea. I see David posting on yours, so
Yeah.
let's see. Craigslist new auditors. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure. I think these questions on your back and forth between your guys' chat there, I don't really actually see anything that looks like it's directly...
They're just talking amongst themselves, it looks like.
Okay, well, I'll get back to my chat over here. Let's see. Did Tom Zebra... Okay, did Tom Zebra get Ida started? I'm guessing this was by Marco. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last part of the name. On my chat, on my YouTube chat there.
Did he help me get started?
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, I contacted him when my sister got her ass kicked, and we started recording. And initially, I had no intention of recording the police. Um, I was doing things behind the scenes with him, like he had a lot of court dates and all kinds of other things, and he was like, "You should do it. There's no girls in this." And he had, I don't know, less than, he said between 1 and 2,000 subs at the time. I mean, he was a small channel, and so he was like, he had just done the drone thing, and he was like, "Yeah, girl in this." He was trying to like get attention to it, and I was like, "Okay, sure, bring attention to it because we need everybody to know." So we started cop watching together. So yeah, that's how I started. I would have never done this. I had no urge to do it.
That's cool to hear. And actually, Tom Zebra, that's actually his second account. He did have his first account down here in Solomon. I think that was right around 10. It was somewhere between the ballpark of 10 to 20,000 subscribers when it got killed by YouTube. So I guess they got massively flagged or something like that back in the day. All right, we got another question. Sir 2, and thank you, Jeffrey Peterson, for subscribing on one of our channels. I'm not sure which one. Probably mine. Let's see here. Roger Joyner, what are you holding the cops accountable to? The law or some utopian dream?
I'm just pointing out how they consistently disregard this Constitution that you hold so near and dear, that just to show the BS that I've talked about earlier, and how everything that goes on in the system is bullshit, and stop feeding into it. So I just expose the nonsense and try and point people into the direction to go research other things, think outside the box, take a different perspective, something other than what you were indoctrinated and what's been embedded into your head since you were born.
I want a piece of that when you're done, Foxy.
All right.
What are we holding cops accountable to? The law or some utopian dream? Well, first of all,
incoming super chat on Mike's channel.
Nice.
And it's a question.
Okay. What is the question? Because I can't see it from my end. There's a delay.
Yeah, it's going to show up soon. Give it a minute,
okay.
As I said.
Well, I'll finish answering that question. What are we holding cops to? Some utopian dream or the law? Here's the thing, right? Cops are constantly acting.
Here it is.
Mike, this might get your attention. When is Bob
troll.
going to join the convo?
Okay, the super chat is, Mike, this might get your attention. When is Bob going to join the convo?
The conversation?
Yeah.
Bob's not part of the show because he always shows up here like an hour after the show starts. Sorry, brother. And he's asleep in my bedroom right now, so I'm not going to go wake him up. But so I don't think Bob would be in here. But if you'd like, I'll interview Bob for strategic noncompliance, and then we'll play his interview on the show if you want. If you'd like that, David, I'll do it for you. Now, to get back to the guy that was saying, what are we holding cops accountable to? The law or some utopian dream. That's a little stab at Anarchist. Well, first of all, I do not believe and I do not behave in a manner that would suggest that the police are responsible for my safety or well-being. A cop can't unrape my girlfriend. If I get beaten up, a cop can't miracle lumps off my head. My safety and security is ultimately in my hands. A cop can just show up with a clipboard and a gun and categorize people into two groups, victims or assailants. I personally don't want to victimize anybody, and I don't want to be a victim. So I'm going to try my utmost to defend myself to the best of my ability. And I try to live a moral, ethical life, and I try not to harm other people. But cops act like they have some sort of a moral authority to delegate basically varying degrees of violence on behalf of a government without the consent of anyone. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The state is illegitimate. That's the whole freaking point. And to to further prove it, the police literally have their own Bill of Rights. And if you Google the person that asked that question, the law enforcement officer's Bill of Rights, and then use your logical brain, you will see that they exist in this perpetual state of contradiction. They're saying that the law doesn't apply to us, but it applies to you. And that is morally and ethically wrong. That's why I'm an anarchist. I stand on moral and ethical grounds. That's why I prefer to try to take responsibility for my own life. Like Foxy said way earlier, we can't reform the system. I can't become a politician to have people vote for me. That would be ridiculous. Okay, I believe the government is a criminal syndicate. So why would I, try to go through the ritual combat of the jumping in ritual, which is voting? Why should I have people vote for me to become part of this system that I believe is illegitimate? I believe I'm convicting cops in a court of public opinion. When people see the constant inherent state of contradiction that they live in, which is having two separate standards of law, one that applies to the rich plutocratic scumbags that they actually protect and them, and one version of law that applies to everyone else, then it's a done deal. When people en masse start to take responsibility for their own lives and actions, we won't have some glorious utopian society, but we will have a society where people are governing themselves, and that's what I want. No, not some kind of dreamy zeitgeist addendum kind of whatever it is, that Venus Project or whatever it was.
Start wrapping it up. You've been doing this for 3
I'm
minutes.
all done, man. But that just triggered me. That's what it sounds like
stop.
when an anarchist gets
Stop.
triggered.
You're in. You're done. You're done. I'm gonna put the kibosh on you right now.
I wanted to go off of that. I wanted to say something.
Okay, go ahead, Ida. This is your talking time, so.
Piss me off.
Statism is a religion. Okay, it's got rituals and like Mike said, the voting and the inaugurations and the costumes, and it's a religion because you blindly you're obeying blindly to things that you were just taught when you were little or brainwashed into believing, and everything around you, propaganda and people you guys say things that you don't even think about what you're saying, and because it's just like, oh well, it's just what we do because this is the ritual that we perform because that's all I've known. So everybody needs to start questioning everything. These people that you're being fed by are liars. They're known liars, but nobody can argue that a politician is not a liar. Okay, so start looking further. Stop just believing everything you hear, because everything you've been taught is a lie. So find your truth.
All right. Well, we got several more questions that are starting to stack up here, so let's go ahead and get the ball rolling on those. This one's from Mike Bluehair's chat. Connor's blog, how do you defend your title to your home from the indigenous people? Foxy.
Guns. Your own guns that have been taken away from us here in California, or they're like stupidly lawed so that you can't even use it if you were broken into in your house. So you have the right to defend yourself, and your bullet shouldn't be in the garage, and your piece shouldn't be like in your trunk of your car.
All right, and let me double check Twitch. There, okay, nothing new on that one.
And you'd have a legitimate jury of your peers if there was no government to go run to solve your problems, which they do a shit job at that also, which everybody complains about too. So hello. So if there was no government, the community that you live in, everybody would know. People would start talking to each other more. You wouldn't act like everybody's a stranger, everybody's a terrorist, camera terrorist, and oh my gosh, and people would know each other, and that would be your jury of peers, right there, for people who are trying to take your house title.
All right, let's see here. NJ Diver, Ida, do you cop watch solo?
Yes. If I am planning to go out, like if I'm going to go out tonight, then I will usually go with somebody. But if I'm out and I'm driving by myself and I see something and I get out and pull over, then yeah, I'll do it by myself.
Let's see here, and it looks like I've missed a couple here. Let me double check to see how far back I messed up here. Borders. Let's see. Another one by Roger Joyner. Anarchists don't like any laws, so what is being accounted must not be lost. So then what? I think, did you guys really sort of cover that with your answers on the first round on that one?
We did, but
Okay.
That's not what we said at all. It's not no rules, it's no rulers.
Yeah.
No ruling class.
Okay, so that pretty much sort of catches me up on this one. Okay, then that was...
You know, the Wikipedia page on anarchism and the various derivations is pretty straightforward. The definitions of the various kinds of anarchists and how they philosophically believe things. Just Wikipedia search it and you'll see, people.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I got to shuffle through comments, so... let's see here. Let's see. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. I'll just call him AK because it's very foreign. So states don't have borders. I think that is directed towards you, Ida. I'm not 100% sure.
States don't have borders?
Yeah. I'm not sure what they're referring to if you want
as much as countries. I mean, they're all lines on a map.
Yeah.
And that change whenever some bureaucrat's opinion changes. So, you know, what do you want? I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay. Sort of skipping around here on my chat because, as I said,
that's okay. Let me go back to Connor. I was going to say something.
Okay.
I just saw something. Shit. Oh, damn it! I should have butted in earlier when I had it in my head. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. There it is. I keep losing it. Where I need to kick back off on. Okay. How does Ida feel about the West Coast auditors get more aggressive in groups? That was by Marco I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Marco E.
I don't believe that any activist should be aggressive on audits. I think that you should just allow the subject to be the show. Let them choose the direction that they want to portray themselves on, you know, the internet. Let them make an ass out of themselves or portray themselves like a respectable or respectful human being. I don't think that, I mean, if they want to be an asshole to you, well, then by all means, tell them to whatever you want. But I don't think any auditor should provoke it.
All right. And right now, Real Jingy over on Mike's channel. Do I have the right to refuse the offers of service that officers offer?
No, I would like to opt out. If you find that button, let me know.
Well, logically and ethically, yes, but they're going to use force on you if you try to decline. They're going to use force to get their way.
Right, because government is violence.
Correct.
All right. Yeah, let's see here.
We make the rules. If you don't listen, we're going to hurt you. The end.
Yeah, ask, tell, make is the way police think. They ask you to do something, they tell you to do something, and then they're going to force you to do something.
Right.
Okay, this one's from OCSOB007. What do you love about the Constitution, and then what do you love about the fictional borders?
What was the second one? What do I love about the what?
Fictional borders.
Fictional borders? What do I love about?
Yeah.
Nothing and nothing.
Nothing about the
Constitution. I like the sentiment of the Constitution. I understand, like, the intent behind it was to preserve, you know, everybody's rights and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was a nice sentiment, but I don't think I could write something down on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, and I guess AK's question probably was relating to that because that was prior to that one. So,
if nobody ever wrote the Constitution, it would be common knowledge that it's not okay to steal or kill or, you know what I mean, harm other people or their property. That it doesn't need to be written down. I mean, it's just duh, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it looks like that question started off a huge debate within the chat. So I'm having to try to decipher which is question for you really and someone else. Also, it doesn't help when I'm trying to scroll through it that it automatically shoots straight down to the bottom while I'm like, no, I want to be right in this spot.
This is what I was going to say for Connor's blog. How do you defend your title to your home from the indigenous peoples? Okay, do you realize that we came over here and just infiltrated the people who were living here peacefully? I mean, What goes around comes around. I don't know what you. I mean, do you realize you guys are just so entitled? Like, oh, this is our land. No, we came and frickin' slaughtered a bunch of people who were already here. And call it Thanksgiving.
Let's see here.
That's the story of every nation on earth.
And what's funny, actually, as I'm scrolling through here, I Am Nacho pointed out we took Hawaii for military, which that was an armed takeover. Hawaii was pretty much subjugated to an armed takeover.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And they had a full on nation going on there. Let's see. Looks like I have caught up with all the questions on that one. I'm gonna double check Mike Blue Hairs. Guys, if you got questions, post them. Come up with some good ones. I was expecting more, actually, from the way the comments were going, but it looks like they turned into their own debates within the chats, which is sort of entertaining in itself.
Everybody is always asking me all kinds of questions, and, now it's interesting that nobody has anything to ask me. Because but to go into comments and type it all out, it's like, ain't nobody got time for,
It was, I'm not sure if this was actually meant to directed for you, but I'll just ask it. It's from Johnny, no last name, over on Twitch. The Constitution doesn't mean shit. What? He had put a bunch of question marks after shit and then after what. So I don't know if that was just a general statement or whatnot. So
or was he being funny or like stating the obvious or what?
It probably
no.
was...
It doesn't mean shit. Every 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, they're all being infringed right now, and it says shall not be. So is it doing what it's supposed to do? No.
Yeah, it's only as powerful as people's willingness or blind faith in it, as if though it may as well be the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are these simple common sense things. Don't steal your neighbor's crap. Don't don't kill people. But they're not followed unless people have faith in them. They're bound to people's belief, faith, and act.
Hallucination, yes.
Hallucination. A collective hallucination of a government.
All right.
If you don't put energy into it and you don't believe in it, well, then how do they have any power? How many of them are there? You think a bunch of little Nike-wearing, white Nike people are going to be ruling the world when nobody legitimizes it? No. It's because you're legitimizing it, why it keeps flourishing.
Let's see here. Fathom Lord Canther, top tip for new auditor from Ida Foxy Queen.
Top tip for a new auditor?
For a new auditor. I'm guessing they're getting you confused with auditor when you're actually a cop watcher.
That's okay. It's all good. When in doubt, shut the fuck up.
That's a good one. That's usually my thing. When in doubt, just don't say it, Anthony. Let's see. Okay.
Connor.
Go ahead.
Connor, if you want to be a slave on my plantation, I will gladly take you. Not everybody wants it, okay? No hierarchy of order. Dude, you want to come live on mine? You can come pick my cotton, okay? I don't want
to. A dog walker. Unpaid dog walker or whatever. Okay.
Okay, Tiny Dancer on my chat. What is Foxy end goal with anarchism?
I would like to live a peaceful life. I would like to drive 60 in a 25 if I want to, if nobody's around, because I like to drive fast. I want to be left the fuck alone. Stay in your own lane. I don't want to be violently ruled. Do you want to be violently ruled? Who here wants to be violently ruled? Anybody? Okay.
Maybe if they wear the right leather outfit, but we discussed that earlier, so.
See, and that would be your choice. Kind of like Connor's.
Yeah, like consent, right?
Right. Consensual sex is okay. Rape is not, okay?
Right. Government forcing its services on us, right. not cool, right?
Yeah. It's gang rape. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there. It sounded like Mr. What was it? Dang it, Mr. Slave from South Park. Anyway, let's see. Okay, this one's from I Am Nacho Lock. BB asks Foxy if she's dating, High Desert Community Cop Watch, or HDCW law?
I like to keep my personal life to myself.
There's your answer. She's not going to answer it. There you go.
That's right. Foxy reserves the right to refuse questions from anybody. That's
First
and don't forget, Bob's still on my shit list.
Yeah.
Well, we know Bob's on your shit list.
Yeah, the First Amendment gives you the right to talk. It also gives you the right not to talk. So, let's see. Oh, did you have something you wanted to add to that, Mike? Or
no. I was just thinking about some crap in my chat window. I'm watching people's arguments. That's all.
Let's see. Why, after saying you're not going to answer questions, do you continue to answer questions? That's by Prowler Cam.
What do you mean?
I'm guessing they...
You mean like right now, or like in general out cop watching? I don't understand.
That might be in reference to cop watching. I don't know if there was an incident like that. I'm not sure off the top of my head because I can't keep track of everything.
Yeah, please give an example of what you're talking about, because that's a blanket question and I don't understand.
Yeah, Prowler Cam, come back with that
if their question sucks, let's not answer it.
Yeah, well, I'm asking them to better refine the question because I'll sort of I'll ask it just to see if you might have an idea what they're referring to. If not, then you got to come back with the question better described to me.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, to us. Let's see. What is Foxy doing to achieve that end goal? That's by Tiny Dancer. I'm guessing that is a follow-up question from her previous their previous.
The whole anarchist thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just exposing the nonsense and the hypocrisy of what really goes on. I'm trying to get people to stop living in supposed to be land and start living in reality of what is. Shall not be infringed, but what is happening? They are being infringed all day, every day. So let's live in reality and stop trying to make people do something that they don't want to do. You can't control people. You can only control you. Stay in your lane and work on you hallucinating an obligation to bow to criminals. That's what I'm trying to accomplish.
Let's see. Okay, here's another one from I Am Nacho Lock. BB, who is a new cop watch / auditor she likes? So someone new that's recently come up that do you like? Which is going to be tough because there's a lot of new people that are out there.
I know. I don't think that's a fair question. I'm not going to single out people because then I exclude people, and that's not right. Anybody who gets out there and has the balls to point a camera, just good for you. I'm not going to play favorites.
Okay.
There's so many people sitting on their keyboard not doing it that I commend anybody who has the balls to do it.
Yeah. Okay, this is a good future tech question for Foxy. This is by Fathom Lord Carther. Foxy, do you think in 20 years, when everyone has cameras so small they have them implanted in their eyes, cops will still freak out when someone is recording them?
What was the beginning of that? How was that a question?
In 20 years, when everybody has cameras so small they can have them shoved in their eyeballs,
oh, okay.
Will cops still freak out when someone is recording them?
Of course they will. They'll be like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't predict the future, but I would imagine that they're only going to up their paranoia.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, it's not just their paranoia. Imagine our paranoia.
I mean, that's some creepy stuff right there. So.
I mean, just look at people freaking out on everyday usage of my camcorder when I'm sort of being security cameraman, walking around filming in the streets there, with Springfield there, who is definitely behind the times.
Has Derek Revies asked a question? Because he's like pissed off in my chat room. He's like, hello, can anyone see my chat? That's a freaking question. Yeah, I can see your chat.
Well, as is, man, if you see a question that they ask, let me know, and I'll point it. I'll ask it, or you ask it, man. So
I'm gonna hit my scroll back and try to find his question.
Yeah, see if you can find it, because I easily scan. I might have missed people. I'll probably missed people's questions also in my chat too. I'm trying not to do that, but also you got side discussions and all that stuff going on. As is, we're multitasking. We're going to miss stuff. Can't expect us to catch every single person's chat, especially when you got a field of chatter going on, people. So, as is, try to make it clear that you're asking a question to Foxy and make it sort of stand out, and we'll be able to notice it and pose that question. Okay, Tiny Dancer, once more. What is Foxy doing on legislative level to achieve that end goal?
This guy's trolling FM.
People.
Who? The person in your chat or Tiny Dancer?
Tiny Dancer. He's a troll.
Okay. Well, then I'll just start ignoring their questions.
Hold me close, Tiny Troll Dancer.
Yeah, that's what comes in my head too.
Okay,
maybe
I
not
am
the
not
full
your
part, but I like that.
It's like Shrek at this point, you know.
The Shrek memes. Shrek is life.
Yeah, Shrek is life, yes.
Let's see. Okay, we got another one. I am not your luck. BB, has Foxy done silent citizen style and just say nothing the whole time?
Yes, but only because they didn't engage me.
There you go.
That's not because they were asking me something and I ignored them.
Yeah, in which case...
I'll answer their questions up until they get personal or, none of their business.
I have a question from Patty O'Patty. Is your family supportive of your cop watching despite the risk, Foxy?
Again, that goes in my personal life, and I'm not going to answer that.
That's fine.
Yeah, as is. We're not... I mean, she has every right not to answer questions, so... Let's see here. Oh, Connor's blog's wanting to get involved in that, too. If you noticed, Mike.
Yeah, I'm just ignoring that.
Let's see here. Yeah, so far, nothing really new.
Why do I want to lobby Congress?
Well, I mean, that probably would sort of go against all that stuff because it's just...
Right, I'm legitimizing and I'm reinforcing their power.
Yeah, if voting solved anything or granted any power to the voter, they'd make it illegal.
Right. Mark Twain, right?
Yep.
Okay, they didn't add a question mark to this one, but it still sticks out because I'm looking at it. Patrick D. Canberra, do you think auditors or cop watchers should put more pressure on mayors and city councils?
No. They're not going to change anything. They're all getting paid well. Their livelihood depends on them continuing to treat you like shit. So they're not going to stop. They're not going to go against the system because then they're going to be ostracized. They're not going to change anything.
Only as far as illustrating the hypocrisy of it all. Like if you can point out how they're hypocrites, that's about it.
Yeah, but going above them, going to the next guy up or whatever, it doesn't matter. They're all on the same team. Big club, and you're not in it.
And I'm going to go ahead and expand on this one. I'm going to expand on this one because of, obviously, my political philosophy and opinions differ from both Ida's and Mike's. The thing is, the only way you can put pressure on a mayor and city council is show up at the meetings with a bunch of people backing you and pushing certain agendas. That is what they listen to. They listen to numbers and people that have money. It's going to be one of those two. And
larger portions of the herd, correct.
And if you can't field one of those two assets, they're not going to listen to you. So it will be sort of a failed thing. The reason why I only show, when I see something that's worth getting involved in is if I can see a consensus, I agree with them, and I make sure to add my number to it. That's what happened with the drone issue in Anchorage. That's what happened with the Matsu Borough Council, Borough Council meeting when I showed up and added my commentary to it with the whole burn ban issue that was going on with the air quality crap that they couldn't even figure out what it was going to be addressing in the first place. It was literally an open-ended legislation that could cause a lot of further problems that has shown to cause problems in other parts of the state, namely the North Star Borough, which holds Fairbanks, and the Juneau area too, which has had massive issues with those open-ended legislations. Okay.
I found a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure. This is from Chris V. Foxy. Do you think you would have a different view of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights if the people, in quotes, wouldn't have allowed it to be eroded of its authority over the years?
No man has the right to rule over another. So any sort of ruling class is illegitimate. It's wrong. It's not a right, it's wrong. Unless you yourself personally delegate like a power of attorney, somebody to speak for you or to act for you or whatever it is, that's different. Nobody has a right to do that. No. You can't just blanket shit like that.
Collectivism is morally repugnant.
This land in the boundaries of whatever, and so now you're bound to all the shit that some bureaucrat wrote down. No. I got opinions too. How come nobody's listening to them? Why is your opinion any better than mine?
Yeah, let's see here. Dang it. Just had one. Okay. I am not your lock. BB, what is Foxy's favorite cop watch she has done? So what has been your favorite cop watching video or incident that you've done?
Oh, I don't know. I have a lot. I have a recent one. It's pretty funny. Is the post office snowflake in Santee. She was tearing down the flag, and I was videotaping helicopters. And she said that I needed to put my phone away, and I wasn't even pointing it at her. I didn't even know she was there. And so she's like, do you need help? I was like, no. And I went back to my helicopter. And then she's like, what can I help you with or whatever? And so I went to her. And by that time, I'm like, hey, well, you just engaged me twice. So now you want to be the star. And then she was like, it's privacy, blah, blah, blah. You're the one who interfered with what I was doing. I had nothing to do with you. You brought it to yourself. So that's what you get. Stay in your own lane.
Or the Foxy train will run your ass over.
It was just so crazy. I mean, I've had the post offices seem to be hot these days. I mean, they all flip out. I mean, I had a fireman come over to the post office who, it was like 5:15, they had just closed. Fireman came over from next door, was like, what are you doing? I'm like, who are you? He didn't even look like a fireman. I didn't even know, he's just wearing all blue. I'm like, who the fuck are you asking me what I'm doing? You know, yeah. And then he called the cops. And then some crazy Smurfette was inside the lobby. She freaked the fuck out. It was crazy.
Oh! I remember that. I watched that video. That was really funny. Hey, Foxy. Can I get Smurfette's phone number? Because she's kind of cute. She's kind of cute. You know, I mean, I wouldn't kick her out of bed. You know, I'm just saying.
Well, you might have to come visit La Puente.
Yeah, she could stay in bed. I wouldn't kick her out. She could stay.
Yeah. Well, that's nice.
Okay.
Nice of you.
Oh god,
that chivalry's dead.
Right, exactly. I mean, I put a pillow behind her head and everything.
Oh,
all right.
I'm a sweet man.
Let's see here. Crazy Metal 2. Have you three thought about going after the insurance companies for cops? And then they followed up with, or put in vids what company insures the city/cops.
I'm interested in showing people those horrible union contracts that police have that allow for rehiring. And I mean, there's a movement to have cops buy their own private insurance that they have to keep to be a cop. And I think that's a swimmingly lovely idea. But no, I agree with Foxy. We can't really appeal to those with the power and say, hey, can you stop abusing us?
Yeah. And there are some agencies like Torrance PD, they don't have an insurance company because they've extorted enough money to self-insure. So
yeah, and I just want to add to this, only small municipalities and counties and stuff like that, they'll have insurance companies. Those that service a really large area, like New York Police Department, they handle all their lawsuits in-house, so that comes straight from the taxpayer. It doesn't go through an insurance company or anything like that. And most likely, an insurance company is not going to insure them anyway at the amount of money in lawsuits they go through every year.
Yeah, the FOP takes care of a lot of it. The Fraternal Order of Police is a huge monetary pool that they draw from for legal fees.
Right. Yeah. Right. Which, I mean, it's another layer of bullshit.
Yeah, the only way you're going to have an impact on the insurance company aspect is if there's several lawsuits that are able to cause an insurance company to say we're no longer going to insure this city for XYZ reason because there's several lawsuits. In which case, you'd have to have a really bad law enforcement agency or department within that government structure there. And that's only happened once that I know about. I haven't really heard of that really being happening in more than once.
I don't know. I don't think like that. I don't do this for the money. I've never thought, who am I going to go after? Who's going to pay me or whatever. It's just kind of like, I just need people to get the light bulb to click on. That's all that I want, so that I don't have to be violently ruled anymore, because you all vote for me to be violently ruled, which is unethical, but whatever.
Hey, Connor's blog has a question. He's trying to box you in, Foxy. Do you rely?
No, I don't rely on the First Amendment. I rely on the fact that I'm not harming anybody.
Right. So Foxy relies on the fact that she's not aggressing or harming anyone, not the First Amendment.
I will say First Amendment, every now and again, but it's only to point out to people the hypocrisy in it, that it doesn't exist, or, you know what I mean? I don't bow to it. I don't kneel to it. I don't worship it.
Oh, I'm so going to answer Patty's question. Without any ruling class, how do you recommend protecting our homes and lives from invading armies? Okay, first of all, what are we supposed to take the 1,000 rich people and put guns in their hands and make them defend the borders of the country? This is a really stupid question. Okay, what was it? It was I think his name was Yamamoto, the Japanese general in charge of the Japanese army. His reason for not wanting to invade the United States with troops was because, and I quote, "there will be a gun behind every blade of grass." If we lived in a culture where everybody was in charge of their own safety and security, everybody would be armed to the teeth. No invading army could bring shit. They could come here as hard as they wanted, and there wouldn't be a front line. They'd be getting shot at by everybody. So there you go.
Our government hasn't done what they want to do with us quite yet, because there are too many people who are armed. Yes. They can't. There's too many of us. They can't control it. There aren't enough of them. So if everybody freaking got a clue, they'd be gone, and we could all live in peace.
Right.
Okay, minus the onesie, twosie, random local murderer and robber, whatever. Jury appears just like it is right now, except you don't have a violent ruler.
Yeah.
To go with it.
An invading army couldn't have logistics if the entire population is armed, because they couldn't have a supply depot. They couldn't have lines of supply lines. They couldn't have a front line, because they'd be getting shot at from every place.
If people weren't willing to go onto the other side of the earth and kill people because we're told to, we wouldn't have this issue.
Let's see here, and I saw, actually this was not really a question, but a really good comment that I wanted to point out. Give me a second here. Oh man, my chat really blew up for a moment there. Okay, I am surprised no celebrities, this is by Fathom Lord Carther. I'm surprised no celebrities has given attention to Cop Watch community. So much of Hollywood is part of stuff like PETA and Boycott Israel, Boycott Israel. You would think a rapper would see a video and tweet it. No. Any opinions on that?
Yes, but do we want to go there?
Yeah, I want to go there.
Oh my God, this could be another hour and a half. The celebrities are all part of the Luciferian reign that is ruling over us right now. Okay, all the pedophilia and all of this other evil that's going on, they're all encompassed by it. If you see the Oscars or whatever, the Grammys, whatever crap, they all throw the 666, they cover the one eye, all these Luciferian symbology, Illuminati, whatever, the pyramid on the top, on the back of your friggin' dollar, all of that. So no, the celebrities aren't going to be on board. The random one that wants to get ostracized from the friggin' big club might do it, but that's a risk that they take. I mean,
case in point is poor Corey Feldman. I mean, he grew up as a child star, and he says outright that the biggest problem in Hollywood is systematic pedophilia. But he's being ostracized. He can't get money for his documentary film about pedophilia and child exploitation in Hollywood, because they're all involved in it. It's part of that system of control, is to have that that pedophilia is there. It's part of their creepy worldview, is that they have a right to do anything with anyone's children they want.
Right. And all these mass shootings and all those other sacrifices, you know, those are all rituals in their religion, their cult, or whatever. These are all rituals. They're all staged because they sacrifice lives to gain more energy for their evil, and that's what's going on. If there was no government, oh God, I can go on for days, so I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, like, I've never met a conspiracy theory I didn't like, so yeah, we should probably just drop this.
It's called a conspiracy theory so that you don't believe it, but more often than not, they always come true.
Oh no, like I'm saying, like a lot of this stuff that like sounds really far-fetched, I actually believe. That's what I meant by I never met a conspiracy theory that I didn't like.
Right, no, I know. But a lot of people, tinfoil hat, whatever, it's friggin' true.
Well, MK Ultra was like, I thought it was just being a conspiracy theory, and then truth came out. It actually was an existing project that did a lot of the stuff that people thought was too far-fetched.
Right. You know, the U.S. has so many patents on all this crap that everybody is like, no way. They got patents on all kinds of crap that you wouldn't even believe.
Oh, so, sure.
Like, that was true. I mean...
I was doing a patent search a few nights ago, and I found a patent from like the early 2000s to transmit data through power lines, like electric lines. So there's already a patented machine that can read data off of power cable. They just don't use it, you know. But somebody already invented it; it's just not being used.
Yeah,
that technology's been around for a while.
They're years ahead of us.
Yeah,
we only know what you want us to know.
The patent I saw was like from 2002 or something, or 2003.
That was doable back in the 70s. It's not that hard to do.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, but as patents get refined, somebody will make another version that's better. And but like, it's crazy to stuff. Like some of the first drones, they're not autonomous, but they're like remotes. Like go back all the way to fucking World War II. You know,
both Germany and the United States had remote control stuff. Even Russia, I think, also at one point.
Well, there's patents on weather modification. There's patents on AIDS. The U.S. has a patent on AIDS. Okay, they created that.
Yeah, but anyway, let's go ahead and continue on here. Station Roger, Foxy, I love your audits. She watches cops, not audits. She rarely audits, and that's probably just by opportunity's sake. Do you have an interesting story of something that happened when you're making your escape from the audit?
Well, yeah, we're always watching our backs because they follow us a lot because they want to know who we are because we're a thorn in their side. So, we will usually the best way to get rid of them is to just turn around and shove your camera up their butt, and what are they going to do? Show their superiors that they stood there for 3 hours and looked at us? I mean, that makes them go away. I mean, you can't be chased if you don't run, so.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have two options. I could sit there and just wait them out, or my fun thing is I see how much willpower they have to tell me, and I'll go either the distance, or I'll purposely drag them through rough terrain or something like that, like what I did with the J-Bear Force. It's like, let's see if they follow me down this hill, through this brush, and they stop there, and they're just looking like crap.
Right. I've jumped in Ubers before, or just split up, or we will make our plan. It's kind of just on scene. Usually if somebody's live or whatever, or like cut the stream because we're not going to give away our tactics. I mean, and that's another thing with live stream too. Like, people forget that they're broadcasting live, and now people get some inside stuff that gets to be kept under wraps if you edit, because shit can get real.
All right, let's see here. Free speech and other stuff. Who is ruling over us? I'm wondering. I haven't seen actually that account before, so I'm wondering if someone rolled up a new account real fast to get through here. I don't know if you want to answer that one or not.
Who is really over us?
Who is ruling over us?
Oh, who is ruling over us? In the grand scheme of things, or locally on the street?
That is just all it states. That so. If it's too broad, I'll just say come back with a better. So
evil.
Okay, there you go. Evil. There's your answer. Just yeah. Hey, here's the thing. If someone asks a vague question, I usually just I'll sit there and give a vague answer just to fuck with them. Yeah. It's like come on, quit asking something that's so overly broad. Let's see here. Oh, go ahead.
Can I humor Patty again?
Go ahead.
Okay. Back to the whole, without a centralization of power, we couldn't defend our borders thing. Dropping bombs on a society with a bunch of guns would be easy. Need organization to advance weapon systems. Not a stupid question, just stupid answers. Okay, anarchism doesn't mean no rules and no organization. It means no rulers. People could voluntarily become part of a logistical self-defense force, voluntarily become part of a self-defense force for a given geographic location, consensually, and defend themselves. It's not very hard. I mean, if you look at the Iroquois Confederation, that was actually looked at by Jefferson when he was helping to scheme out the Constitution and whatnot, and our actual the organization of our states. Just Google the Iroquois Confederation. They had mutual defense pacts, but they all had separate individual governing systems. It's not that hard, Patty. Not that hard at all.
Right. Like, okay, I was talking to that Pink Camera Magic, a while back, and she was telling me about a story where I don't know, there was somebody in the water, the ocean, the lake, or something, and drowning, and a bunch of people got together and created a human chain. They linked themselves together to go and reach that person out there and pull them into safety, and the cops arrived later. Communities band together, so there's no need for a ruler. People are inherently good, or are they inherently evil? I like to think that they are inherently good, with a few stragglers who are a little off, but inherently good. So I think that people would band together to cure whatever problem that there is. You don't need law enforcement to show up 15 minutes later and take the glory for it and to write something down on a piece of paper. It's not necessary.
Yeah, and I'm going to point out a webcomic series that I read that actually took... it doesn't point in a great light kind of thing on the anarchism part, but that's partially because it's controlled actually by this rogue AI. But there's this webcomic called poisonminds.com. It's been going on since 2001. And it's all over the place with its long-term storyline. But one of the parts in it is this anarchist society. It controls a good portion of, a decent portion of the world. And what's quite interesting is how he describes about how it sort of governs itself through recommendations and stuff like that. There's sort of like an overseeing council, but yet not. But of course, they're sort of serve as the bad guy. But it's really weird kind of thing, and it becomes when you sit down and think about it, it's sort of a thought-provoking kind of thing. And I would recommend, if you have a chance, to sit down and read through the hundreds of pages and stuff like that. It might be something to check out, and then you sit down and you sort of think about it. I mean, as is, these kind of things are good thought-provoking questions that you should probably sit down and think about yourself and self-reflect and see, how does this apply? I mean, what is my opinion? How do I feel about this? Not just constantly ask everybody else for theirs. Just think about what you think about it.
Right. You're the only one who can change you or change your own thoughts or make change in your own world. You can't make other people... can't control people, so you need to think about things for yourself.
Yeah. And
what can you do to make change, because that's all you can do.
Yeah. All right,
unless you hold a gun to my head, and then that's violence and the government, but whatever.
All right, I'm going to throw this last question out since we're at the end of the hour real fast. I am Nacho Lock BB. What is one law Foxy would change?
Why? All of them. Anything that's extortion, opinions of people, that's bullshit. It's just highway robbery. It's wrong. Everything that's unethical. All of them. Fuck.
All right, so yeah, I'm pretty much gonna.
My gun back. Here, start there.
All right, it is the last 4 minutes of the hour. We might as well do our final things. Mike, do you want to start us off, or do you want to be last this time again?
Yeah, I'd love to be last.
Okay, Ida, why don't you go ahead and plug yourself and give your final things for the night? Did we lose her?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and do your plug, a spiel kind of thing, and let everybody know.
Yeah, give us the spiel. The spiel.
Just start living in reality and stop living in supposed to be land and thinking that you can control other people, and start thinking about your own, what you can do to do the ethical thing. Don't be blinded by the ooh of the magical badge, okay? Unless there's some voodoo I need to know about, then hit me up and let me know, because no man has the right to rule over another man, and you voting for me to be violently ruled is wrong, okay? It's not your right, so knock it off.
So, plug your stuff too, Foxy. Like, where can people find you online if they want to subscribe to your work? Where can they find it?
It's just Ida Foxy Queen. YouTube, I have Facebook, Twitter. Live Leak, has anybody watched that?
Yeah, I got a live leak, but I need to get back into posting my shit on there.
There's also a link to Foxy's YouTube channel in this live stream. If you look in the info box underneath there, I put it in there so you guys can click on that and subscribe to her work, because she's funny. That's one of the things I love about her stuff, guys. If you're listening to this on the internet, is that she does it with sense of humor, and her editing is really funny as well.
Well, because it's just so fucked up that if you can't laugh at it, I mean, you'd go nuts.
Right, yeah. Laugh or cry, take your pick.
Laughing through the tears.
Yeah, all right. So I might also go ahead and go next. As always, Bunny Boots Inc. You can find me on Twitch, Periscope, Mixer, YouTube. I'm also, for social media outreach, you can hit me up on Twitter and Minds. I'm not so active on Minds. That's just mainly a backup for the Twitters. And then also you can find my Discord chat in the description. Check it out if you want to be able to have a direct contact with me when I'm not doing a live stream or something like that, or you got some important news, or want to have a chance to touch base with other activists. I will be forcing more and more of this stuff to be going through Discord, so there will be chances in the future where people can get pulled in and be able to voice their actual question to the guests or to me or Mike or something like that. So keep that in mind on that aspect.
One more thing.
Okay.
I saw questions, one for Peter. He asked a question, all of the above, Peter, and who was the other one? Rod L. Not annoying, funny, and educational or informative. Okay, that's all.
All right, and then
I don't want to leave them out.
Let's see, and thank you, Joey Rollins, for the subscribe, and PMP for the follow on Twitch. Earlier, as is, I might do an after hours show, but I want to do some more information gathering and get some updates on the people that have been arrested today. If I do end up doing an after hours show live stream, it's gonna probably do a loose recap on this and talk more about stuff that's happened in the past 2 or 3 days, and also some stuff in Springfield, though I might just save that for a show tomorrow. Go ahead, Mike.
Dig it. Okay, first of all, I have to say thank you so much, Foxy. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I'd look forward to having you on again when we get this show. When we're making the big bucks and me and Bunny Boots are balling, and we don't have like a fat knot of like $1 bills in our wallets, you know. But
wait,
yeah,
you have $1 bills in your wallet? I'm stuck with pennies.
Pennies and ramen. I got a fat knot of ones, dude. Anywho, so yeah. Look, thank you to everybody that's watched this and everybody that's participated in the conversation. And I'm sorry, Derek, if I missed your question, but I scrolled through there, Derek Revies, and I couldn't find it. But I'm dyslexic, so You know, it's no big surprise. But anywho, thanks a lot, David, for throwing that $20 in my super chat. That was amazing. And the rest of you, you're all assholes. See, like David's the only one that's not an asshole, and like the rest of you, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You know, I mean, I can't believe you're not like throwing me money, because my ultimate dream, people listening on the internet, I mean, this is my ultimate goal. I want to piss cops off and annoy the shit out of them and make them feel like the totalitarian fucksticks that they are and get paid for it. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask. You know, I think I'm willing to put in the hours and put in the hard work, but I need you guys' help. So, you know, keep jumping up and down on those super chats. Keep not being assholes and donating and sharing my work. And thanks for watching, guys. I'm all done.
Got it. Well, I'm hitting the stop stream. You guys have a good evening.
Stay in your own lane.